Tonight, one way to deal with unpleasant things that are going to happen, especially when we know about them well in advance, is to just ignore them and hope that maybe they'll go away.
That is the approach that we have been taking for months now, since our friend and colleague Cindy Williams told us she was going to retire from News CENTER Maine. Ignoring that reality didn't work, and now we have to come to grips with the fact that on Friday, Cindy will anchor her last 6 o'clock newscast here.
Yeah, she has been a crucial part of our newsroom, a journalist Mainers like and trust, one half of an anchor team that has been by far the most watched in the state for more than 30 years.
Before she heads out the door, we wanted to talk with her about her remarkable run, and we started by asking about what she remembers of coming to work here in 1989.
Well, I remember interviewing for the job, and I remember it because several of the people in the newsroom would never let me forget it. I wore a blue leather skirt and a top that had leather in it, and I'm sorry, it was 1989, in my defense.
Totally in style.
But they were like, wow, you show up for a job interview in a leather skirt.
But you landed the job.
I got the job.
What was the job when you began?
Well, you know, because I was your co-anchor at noon.
Next on our close-up segment, we'll talk with the person responsible for coming up with plans to help the state deal with its trash.
And then I was doing the morning show back when the morning show was, what, half an hour?
Yeah.
And you had to produce it yourself. You literally walked in the door and turned on the lights and produced your own show. And
Which was quite a lift because although you have an abundance of wonderful attributes, Cindy, being a morning person is not one of them.
Never was one of them. It was never one of them. And I never understood how Lee did it all of those years. But actually at the time, I was doing the morning show here. My husband, Lee Nelson, was actually doing the morning show at another station in town. So we were competitors. But the beautiful thing about it is we would go to bed at the same time and get up at the same time, so it didn't feel quite as bizarre. And we hit happy hour every night, which was perfect.
Meals or free meals.
Free. That's when they did the taco bar and the burger bar, and beer was $1. I was living high on the hog.
Oh, which is perfect because when you first started in this business, there was no money at all.
Oh no, zero, zilch.
Speaking of your husband, Lee Nelson.
Yeah.
Good evening and Merry Christmas, everyone. I'm Cindy Williams.
And I'm Lee Nelson.
Obviously, he worked here for many years.
Yes.
You worked here, you had one kid, then had another. I always think about, when we go home, sometimes we air our grievances about work to the significant other.
Yes.
But you guys were in such a unique position that you both worked in the same place for
Yes.
so long.
Yes.
How did you keep the work-life balance?
It was great in a way that you knew all the characters that you were talking about, and you understood the business and the situations and the frustrations and also the joys of it all. So in that way it was awesome, but it was difficult sometimes to step away from it because it was so much a part of both of our lives. But the other way we did that is we were on opposite schedules, so we hardly ever saw each other. So in that way, that kind of worked out.
Kept your marriage going for 35 years, and it is still going, of course, going fine.
And we should mention the honorary work husband.
Yes.
Because also unique, you worked with Pat Callahan on set for 32 years.
32 years.
We tried to rack our brains to figure out another place in the country that actually had that duo for so long. And I think you guys are very unique in that sense.
I think we're unique in a lot of different ways. No, seriously, I have worked at other stations where I didn't necessarily get along with my co-anchor. And I will say that Pat Callahan has been such an amazing friend, advocate, mentor. I lucked out in both husbands' departments.
People don't realize how weird this is, though, because you were accepting a job and agreed to do the 6 and 11, and neither you nor Pat had any idea that you two would be working together, and you work closely.
Yes.
For 30 plus years. It's, we joke about work spouses, but it really is, in a way, as close to a marriage as anything that you do.
And in so many ways, it's so much like a marriage because you become so familiar with someone and their idiosyncrasies and how they would react to something when you can feel them wanting to say something. You know, you really start to finish each other's sentences like you would in a marriage, and you know, it's been wonderful that way, and just to have that kind of symbiotic relationship where, you know, if I'm having an off day, he rises to the occasion, and vice versa. Mm-hmm. So, you know, it's all good. It's been a privilege. It truly has, and that is very true. That longevity in this business, in that position, is a very rare thing. And then, especially the four of us, Joe Cupo and Bruce Glazier too. We were together 20 plus years on the anchor desk together as a foursome. I think that's really unheard of. Mm-hmm. So,
stories. What really is going to stand out for you?
There were certainly stories we covered, you know, ice storms and whatnot, where we're sleeping on the floor of the station because nobody can get home, and you know, election periods, trips when you're traveling with photographers, and you really establish a kind of a completely different kind of relationship when you're working that closely with people. So, I mean, those will be the things that stick out in my mind. The people.
Well, you jumped ahead of us. We'll get back to the family thing, but.
All right.
But I think people want to hear from you. What's next?
What's next? Oh boy. Well, Lee would often made retirement look so awesome that I was like, oh, I want to do that. But I don't know. I've got a lot of things I'm working on. Real estate. I've been a real estate agent for 5 years already, but I'm going to continue doing that. We love to travel, so we're going to do more of that. We have 2 grown sons in the area, so it'll be fun to tag along with them, whatever they're doing. But yeah, we're looking forward to whatever life throws our way. We'll always be looking for projects. That's the kind of person I am.
You likely...
Right? I'm a projects person. You know this, Rob Caldwell.
There's a lot that you're not going to miss here, but there are things you're going to miss. What are you going to miss?
Oh, like I said, the people. Absolutely the people. I have been so fortunate to work with you guys. I really feel that way. Don't make me cry, but I feel that way.
We didn't make her cry, but she was close.
Yeah.
Her eyes were getting moist.
Got close. I think it got a little close for both of us too. So.
Yeah. And on Friday when she leaves, there are going to be tears around here.
And what's also very strange is normally when someone who's been here a long time leaves, we try to do a big fun event for them and really go out in style, but we can't because of the pandemic. So I think it'll be a very strange Friday night.
Yeah. It's so many good memories.
Yes.
Such a deep friendship. We're going to miss her like crazy.
Yes.
But
But
she'll be
very
around.
happy for her.
Yeah.